I'm constantly creating, designing, setting up new businesses, and for that reason, I have to come up with some sort of strategy that allows me to create and work on my business with as little friction as possible. As I'm eating breakfast, I go ahead and look over some of the things that I need to get done for today. So I spend most of my time in the inbox section, or in the inbox and the today section, just because that's what I use the most. I used to make it really complex and have a section for every little thing. And there's too many moving parts, you actually don't get things done. You spend more time trying to organize everything instead of actually doing stuff. So I just came to realize that it's better just to have two sections, the inbox and the today. So then for the inbox, I just basically write down any idea. So this could be at any point in time. I could be walking in my house, around my house, I could be making food, whatever the case may be. I write everything down in my inbox. And then as I'm working through stuff or as the day comes to an end, I move things to the today or I give them a certain date. And it's very easy. This is why I like using Things 3. It just makes everything flawlessly and it's able to connect to my iPad really well. So then in here, I'm just, like I said, I'm going over some of the things that I need to get done for today and getting ready for the day, just planning everything out, getting mentally ready. I like to mentally visualize the things that I'm going to do before I actually do them. That way it makes it a little bit easier to do them. I know exactly what I need to get done. And I avoid wasting time on doing stuff that I don't need to be doing. You need to use Things 3. You could use any type of list or to-do list that you guys want. You could use Apple's own to-do list. You could go with Google or Android and use their own to-do list. It doesn't matter. I just like using Things 3. So that's what I stick with. But like I said, guys, at the beginning of the day, I always start off with seeing what I need to get done and then trying to cut through the fluff or trying to get rid of the things that are really not going to push me forward in life or in business. So once I've gone ahead and visualized what I need to get done, I start breaking my days into sections. There isn't a specific time for what needs to get done by what time. It just depends on how much work I have and how I'm feeling that day. I might go a little bit overboard or I might just not do as much work. I gave up on always trying to have a time for everything just because I would never follow through. I would either cram in a lot of work for something and just go over the time limit, or I would not fill it and just not want to get work done, or I would either finish early and just sit around and just waste time, or just move on to the next thing. So that time was always disregarded. That's why I just gave up on trying to set times. And if you're just starting off, I don't recommend that you focus on time, like just timing everything that you need to get done, because in reality, you're not gonna meet that time or that deadline. Don't get me wrong, if you have a deadline for a certain project that you need to get done for an employee, or you need to have, whatever it is done by this given date, then do it. Obviously set a timeline. But if you're doing creative work and just answering emails or stuff like that, you don't need to have a timeline. You just have to get work done. And my day pretty much consists of creative work, emails, calls, tasks, research planning, emails, calls, and tasks, creative work, and then planning for the next day. During the creative work section, this is where I'm either filming videos, creating new content, designing, drawing, or just setting up things for my business. I'm just doing anything creative during that time whenever I get bored or I'm pretty much burnt out for that given time period. I move on to the next thing, which is emails, calls, and just tasks. So this would be answering emails. This would be getting into calls with some of my students, replying to some of you guys, or just getting small tasks done and whatnot. And then I move over to the planning, where I either plan my YouTube videos or I research things for my business or things to try out, or I just pretty much research anything for my businesses. That would be either YouTube or Shopify, whatever it is. So this is the time that I spend researching and learning, not just trying to grow as an entrepreneur. Then I go back to answering calls, emails, and whatnot. So just tasks that don't use much brain power like my creative process does. And then towards the end of the day, I again focus on my creative aspects of my business, so designing, working on videos, whatever the case is. I focus on creativity things during that time. And then towards the end of the day, as things start winding down, I set 15 to 20 minutes aside to plan for my following day and then just start all over again. In order for me to get the most out of the way I divide my time is to have templates ready and handy everywhere, or as many as I can. So if I have templates for certain YouTube videos, for example, here, some artwork and whatnot that you see in some of my videos, I have templates already installed, or I have templates already done, so that I don't have to create them again or search for them or whatever the case is. I could just get straight to the point, create something, enter the template, and that's it. I don't have to spend hours and hours creating something. It just makes everything so much easier. So if you can, guys, if you're using Photoshop, if you're using Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, whatever files or whatever programs that you're using and you need to constantly have files ready, just make sure to always create templates so that you could easily have that template ready to go and you could apply it wherever you need it. So if you guys have a dropshipping business or Shopify business and you want to create new templates, new artwork, or new promotional artwork, you want to go ahead and have your logos ready, you have everything, your color schemes, every template that you need for your business, have it ready so that you could just import and start working and just creating stuff. And you don't have to be like, all right, I need to get this done, I need to get that done, okay, I need to create the logo again, I need to resize this, I need to find the right this, and it just becomes a hassle. So you want this process to be as frictionless as possible, and this is why I recommend setting up templates. I know some of you guys might hate it, but this isn't for everybody, honestly. This is what I do. This is how I pretty much manage my time. I like setting templates. Just to quickly show you guys, if we go over to my Vectorinator app, or where I create some of my artwork, I either use Photoshop or this free app, which I'll make a video on it if you guys want to see it. It's free and it's pretty much one of my new favorite apps apart from Photoshop. Like, I started using this a lot more than Photoshop, and it's free. So I'll show you guys, or I'll make some videos on it, but just so you guys could see, here I have some of the templates that I use, and you guys probably seen this if you follow me or just watch any of the things I create. You guys have probably seen some of these stuff around my channel and around my Instagram. So like I said, I like creating templates. I like naming everything appropriately. You don't have to do it as you're creating stuff. Trust me, I understand sometimes it's a bit annoying having to do it as you're creating. You should actually wait towards the end of your project or when you finish your project to name the stuff and name it appropriately. And it becomes a lot easier. It might take you a minute or two to name everything, but it becomes a lot easier when you're trying to look for stuff. And this brings me to my next point, or the next thing that I do is for my desktop, whenever I'm working on a new project, I make sure that my desktop is always empty. I actually have two monitors, one top, one at the bottom. The top monitor is basically to throw all my things, all my images, audio files, just whatever it is that I'm working on goes up there. And then the bottom monitor, I use it to work on whatever it is that I'm working on. So I might have Photoshop open there, or DaVinci Resolve, or whatever the case is. I'm gonna have that big window for working on stuff, and then that smaller monitor that's on top is just for throwing all the files that I'm gonna be using. And then when I'm done using the files, when I finish creating whatever it is that I was creating, I group everything in one folder, and then that folder, I just name it the name of the project, the name of the video, whatever the case is. I just give it its name and then add it to a hard drive, or add it to a folder in my hard drive. And then that folder is breaking down into a couple sections, either by online businesses, so this would be e-commerce businesses, or my YouTube videos, or whatever it is. It's breaking down into those sections, and that's it. Like, I don't overcomplicate it. I don't add dates, I don't add tags, I don't add all this. I just keep it very simple, and whenever I need to go back to something, or I remember that I liked how this came out in this video, or I remember that I was doing this artwork for this brand, or I was working on the new promotional artwork for this new campaign that I'm running, and I want to get ideas from this old one that I had, I could just easily search up by campaign, by video, and then just pull it up. I have all the files that I worked on that day, and then use them on that new video or on that new file. And it just becomes a lot easier because you don't have to think about creating this new stuff. And at this point, I'm just using all my tools as an extension of myself and not spending time utilizing them or learning how to use them. And that's something that I would recommend that you guys do. If you guys haven't, try to set up as many templates as you can, try to have everything handy. I basically just have one folder or one file with all my templates or all the things that I need the most right then and there on my computer, so I can just grab stuff and start working. And then, like I said, I lay everything, or I throw everything on one of my monitors, and then just on my second one, just work on everything and put everything together and just piece my project together. So honestly, guys, you don't have to overcomplicate things. Don't spend all day or spend multiple days trying to create this like elaborate plan. It hardly ever works out. Just keep things as simple as possible. If you can, or if you want, just do things how you normally would, and then try to take notes throughout the day to see what you could do better, what you could do to improve your time. Or if you guys are noticing that you get tired after a certain time of doing this, then just group whatever you need to do into one thing and just try to experiment, do things yourself, see what works and what doesn't, try different methods, try what other people do and see what you could apply and what works for you. You guys could grab some inspiration or some ideas from what I do and apply them to your productivity system, and that could work for you. I just wanted to make this video so you guys get an idea of how I do my things, or how I come up with my system, or how I manage to stay productive, so that you guys could be inspired, or you guys could grab ideas from what I do to apply to your own things. So that's pretty much it for the video, guys, and thank you for watching.